Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something pretty foundational, but often complex, SAP S/4HANA in a cloud. We're using some CS4, CS21508 exam prep material as our base.
Exactly, but forget the exam pressure. We're here to really understand the core components, the business logic, the data, the structure, how it all actually works together in the sales area.
Right. So think of it like this. Those materials cover maybe 80 questions in 3 hours, aiming for a 66% pass. We're taking all that, stripping away the test anxiety, and just getting to the core insights.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's kick things off right where the money starts, the sales order. What's its absolute main job from a business perspective?
Well, it sounds basic, but it's crucial. The primary purpose, the number one thing, is that it legally binds the company to deliver goods or services to the customer.
Legally bind, so it's more than just a record.
Oh, absolutely. It's the official agreements at the trigger, really.
Yeah.
That document becomes the legal basis for actually planning the delivery, checking stock, and ultimately sending the invoice. It's that formal promise.
Okay, that makes sense. It's the contract. But even before you create that contract, you need some basic info setup, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are the absolute must-have pieces of master data for any sales process?
Yeah, good question. You need the essentials, the who and the whats. So first, the business partner.
That's a who.
That's the who, yeah. The customer, the prospect, whoever is buying. And second, you absolutely need the material.
The what? The thing being sold.
Precisely. The product, the service, whatever it is. Without those two, the system literally can't process a sale.
Now, people often talk about things like sales organization or pricing procedure.
Mm.
How are those different from, say, business partner and material?
Yeah.
Why aren't they the core master data?
That's a key distinction. Think of business partner material as the nouns, the permanent things, the entities, sales org, pricing procedure. Those are more like the rules or the context.
The configuration.
Exactly. They define how you sell, where you sell, what rules apply, like pricing. They're central configuration, but they aren't the fundamental who or what. You configure them, but the business partner and material must exist as data records first.
Got it. So, moving from single orders,
Hmm.
what if you have a longer-term deal? Like a customer commits to buying a certain amount over, say, a year.
Mm-hmm.
What document handles that?
That's where the quantity contract comes in.
A quantity contract.
Yep. It's specifically for agreeing on a total quantity of goods over a set period. The customer then creates release orders against that contract when they actually need the items.
So what's the real benefit of doing that versus just placing orders as needed?
Well, for the seller, it means predictable demand, potentially locking in that volume. Maybe you offer better pricing for that commitment.
Okay.
And for the buyer, it guarantees supply, often at a pre-agreed price, for the duration. They just draw down on the contract. It smooths things out for both sides.
Right, strategic planning. Okay, so we have the documents, the master data. Let's talk structure. How does S/4HANA define a sales area? What components make that up?
The sales area is like the operational address for a sale. It's defined by combining the sales organization and the distribution channel.
Sales org and distribution channel. Can you give a quick example?
Sure. Imagine your company has a U.S. sales division. That's the sales organization. And maybe they sell through retail stores and also online. Retail and online would be distribution channels.
Okay.
So U.S. sales selling via retail is one specific sales area. U.S. sales selling online is another. It defines that specific route to market.
Got it. So things like company code or plant, they're important, but they don't define the sales area itself.
Exactly. They're critical for finance and logistics, respectively, but the commercial definition, the sales path, is sales org plus distribution channel.
Okay, clear. Now let's shift to actually setting up all this structure. Thinking about the SAP Activate methodology. There's a big emphasis on fit-to-standard analysis. What's the main goal there?
Fit to standard, yeah. It's really about seeing how well the standard SAP solution processes meet the business requirements before you start changing things.
So trying to stick to the standard system as much as possible.
Precisely. The whole point of those workshops is to understand the standard processes, see how they align with what the business needs, and identify only the absolutely necessary gaps.
Why is that so important now? Why not just build whatever the business asks for?
Well, customization is expensive, not just to build, but to maintain, especially during upgrades. Every change adds complexity.
Technical debt, basically.
Exactly. Fit to standard pushes everyone to leverage the best practices already built into the software. It aims for minimal deviation, maybe just small enhancements, not huge custom builds. It saves time, money, and headaches down the road.
Makes sense. So once you've done that analysis and decided on the scope, what tool actually does the heavy lifting of setting up the system landscape? What are the key jobs of SAP Central Business Configuration or CBC?
Right, CBC. It's kind of the control center for the initial setup. It has two main functions in this context. First, provisioning the quality and production systems.
So actually creating the system environments.
Yep, getting them technically ready. And second, it handles deploying the solution scope and configuring those core organizational units, setting up the sales orgs, company codes, all that foundational structure based on the decisions made.
So CBC builds the house, sets up the rooms, but it doesn't like put the furniture in or run the daily operations.
That's a good way to put it. It sets up the structure, creating actual sales orders, maintaining master data like business partners that happens later in the operational system by the users. CBC does the initial configuration deployment.
Clear separation. Okay, this is where things get really interesting for a lot of businesses today. The deployment model. Why would a company, especially one with big swings in demand like retail holidays, choose a public cloud deployment for S/4HANA? What's the killer feature?
Oh, it's all about flexibility. The biggest advantage is high scalability and on-demand resource provisioning.
Elasticity.
Exactly, elasticity. In the public cloud, you're not stuck with fixed infrastructure. You might only need a few weeks a year. You can scale up massively for that peak season and then scale right back down afterwards, only paying for what you use. You just can't get that kind of instant flexibility easily with traditional on-premise setups. It's a huge cost and agility advantage.
Okay, so the cloud provides the flexible foundation,
hmm
but data needs to be consistent, right? Especially if S/4HANA needs to talk to other SAP systems. How does SAP handle that? What's the role of the SAP one domain model?
The one domain model. It's like the universal translator for SAP applications. Its job is to fight data silos. It does two key things. First, it defines a common data structure for core business objects.
Like customer or product.
Exactly. It ensures that customer means the same thing with the same core attributes, whether you're looking at it in S/4HANA sales or maybe a CRM system or financials.
A single source of truth for the definition.
Precisely.
Wow.
And the second key feature follows from that. Because you have this common language, it provides a single unified view of a business process, even if it spans multiple applications.
Okay.
It makes integration much, much smoother. Data flows consistently without needing complex mapping for every single connection. It's fundamental for that intelligent enterprise vision SAP talked about.
That unified view sounds powerful. Okay, let's bring it home. We've got the structure, the data, the deployment. How does someone actually use this day-to-day, especially a manager? Which Fiori app is the main starting point for a sales manager to track performance and see what's going on?
The central dashboard, the main entry point, is usually the My Sales Overview app.
My sales overview.
Yep, that's where a manager can see their key KPIs, orders, revenue, team performance, that kind of thing. And crucially, they can drill down from there into the details if something looks off.
So it's the command center.
Mm.
What about looking specifically at analytics and maybe forecasting? Beyond that main overview, what other Fiori app is key for a manager monitoring performance indicators?
Right, besides the general overview, another really important one for looking ahead is this sales quotation pipeline.
Quotation pipe.
While My Sales Overview shows current results, the quotation pipeline focuses on, well, the pipeline open quotes, their value, their probability, conversion rates. It gives insight into future potential revenue.
So one looks at what happened and what's happening. The other looks more at what might happen.
That's a good way to summarize it. Both are analytical, but with slightly different time horizons and focus. My sales overview for current KPIs, sales quotation pipeline for future potential based on open deals.
I think the big takeaway for you listening is just how layered these systems are. Understanding that it's not just one monolithic thing, but distinct pieces, data, structure, process, deployment, each doing critical job.
Right. And thinking about how those pieces interact leads to interesting questions. For instance, if the SAP one domain model really gives you that unified view of data across everything and you have quantity contracts set up, what could a sales team do strategically knowing they have real-time insight into material availability combined with the ability to instantly scale resources in the cloud? How might that change pricing decisions or demand forecasting on the fly in ways that just weren't possible before? That's something to mull over.